the entertainment highlight of the week.
Red Ray Gun Limited presents
The Benji and Nick Show. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good day.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good tidings.
Good Friday.
Good food.
Good window.
Good beer.
Good tissue.
Good beard.
Goodness.
Loch Ness.
I suddenly thought I'm not prepared for this.
Not mentally prepared. That's the problem, Nick. There we go. Got ya.
Well, that was the Loch Ness game. It's not a game, and it's not about Loch Ness.
But this is the Benji and Nick Show, the #1 double glazing and thermal insulation podcast. Oh, no, it's not, is it? No, it's not. Oh, no, that's right. The #1 cult television podcast in all of the land. What are we talking about today, Nick?
Well, first of all, I'm not Benji.
And I'm not Nick.
But that much was obvious by you causing me Nick. Yeah. Causing you Nick? I don't know what
you caused me Nick, you have, Governor.
What we're talking about is Juliet Bravo, Episode 1, Shotgun. The series is created by, and this episode was written by, Ian Kennedy Martin, who had also, I don't know whether he created The Sweeney, but he certainly wrote for it, so he had a real track record. Starring Stephanie Turner as Inspector Darblay.
1979. No, 1980, sorry.
1980, we're sure, are we?
Yes,
not 81.
yes.
1980 BBC police drama. We also may be blessed by our interloping friend, Jamie, son of Jerry Anderson, for no particular reason, although I hear he's in a car park with a vet at the moment, so I might have to just phone him on FaceTime so we won't have him linked up the way he normally is. In a moment, your emails sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. But first, Benji, would you like to say this?
Certainly, I would love to. Here we go. Now, are you ready? It's in comfortably? Good.
Okay,
then we
yes,
will begin.
right.
It's a good offer. The Benji and Nick Show is proud to be sponsored by The Village Shop, the online e-store run by the Unmutual website, and Coit Media Limited, your one-stop shop for all things Prisoner, Danger Man, and Patrick McGowan, including DVDs, Blu-rays, books, CDs, audio dramas, clothing, photos, homeware, and gifts. New items are added weekly. Benji and Nick Show listeners can enjoy a 10% discount on all purchases by using the code, and it's all in capital letters, Loch Ness 10, no spaces in between there, and you put that in at the checkout. A further donation will be made to Hope House Children's Hospice at no extra cost to you. The address is www.theprisonershop.co.uk. Nick, do you want to have a look, see if there's anything? Anything that takes your fancy?
Well, all right, then I'm opening the link. The website is loading. It's Danger Man, Mavericks, Thrillers, Twilight Zones. It's a CD of classic TV themes. That's good.
Come
That's
on,
the first
that sounds great. That was my Twilight Zone rendition.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, it was good.
It's got Bonanza on it, which is quite great. Ghost Squad, Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke's great. Carry on.
No, I was going to say there's Big Finish's Prisoner and Callan available from the site as well. Were you going to list another theme tune?
I was going to say Quatermass and the Pit. I thought you'd enjoy.
That was my Quatermass and the Pit.
Very good. So I liked it.
I Am Not a Number by Alex Cox.
Well, what are you then?
I don't know, but I'm not by Alex Cox. The Eternal Village signed poster, which has a picture of me on it.
Oh, there we go.
Well,
one for the bedroom wall, isn't it?
Not my bedroom wall. Oh, by the way, if you use the code YouOldFool, all capital letters, no spaces, you can enjoy a 40% discount on the 550-page book, The Callan Files, the definitive guide to the classic TV series written by Robert Fairclough and Mike Kenwood, but you know all that. Also, of course, there's my website, nicholasbriggs.com, which a number of you this week, I think maybe two, bought things. People are noticing that we've got some old Big Finish CDs there, which you may not be able to get elsewhere. So You can get those, and I can sign the covers for you. But all sorts of things going on there. Oh, and some artwork as well. Some interesting artwork that was done of me playing the Doctor in some amateur audio plays.
Pretty funky,
a billion years ago. Yeah, very nice bit of artwork by Tim Keeble, old mate of mine, very talented chap. Right, I think that deals with that, doesn't it?
Certainly does. Well, there we go.
Emails?
Shall we? Let's head on to the emails. So we've got one here from Tom Hodden, podcast regular. It was sent on the 17th of the 6th, 2020, in the year of our Lord, 1241. Chaps, with too much time on my hands, I thought I'd amuse you with a blatant rip-off of another podcast format. Here are 3 possible facts. One of them is true. Can you spot the truth hiding amongst the lies? Possible fact number 1. Colin Baker, who was taught the violin at school and on occasion still lends his skills to small theatres staging Gilbert and Sullivan productions, have been featured on a Beatles track. In the late 1980s, when recorded versions of several tracks were being compiled, Baker recorded 17 seconds of clean backing strings for A Day in the Life. His efforts can be heard in the spiralling, rising orchestral pitch. Possible fact 2, Peter Davison sang the title song for Button Moon, lending his distinctive vocals to the Mr. Spoon earworm. Possible fact number 3, Sylvester McCoy played Glastonbury as 1/8 of the comedy jazz group The Hatter's Tea Party. McCoy played one of the smaller stages. He played spoons, tap shoes, washboard and kazoo on various songs, and as all the band performances, was the lead vocals for their gentrified cover of Firestarter. Any guesses? Yours, T.E. Hodden.
Well, you know, don't you?
Oh, it's got to be. The wrong one has got to be possible fact 1, hasn't it?
Well, there's only one correct one, isn't it? One of them is true.
Well, I mean, Peter Davison sang the title song for Button Moon.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
Yeah. The other 2 aren't true.
Are you sure, though? Because Sylvester McCoy could have played Glastonbury.
He could have done, but he said one of them is true. So,
was it only one? I thought one of them was untrue. Okay, so then it is the middle one.
Yeah.
But be interested to see if maybe we can get
the
Sylvester
top one I knew
Glastonbury.
wasn't true. I know that Colin doesn't play the violin.
I love the idea of him playing it. Saying, no, I must be on a Beatles song. Just can imagine it now.
And Sylvester McCoy at Glastonbury, you're absolutely right. That sounds very plausible.
It sounds like it's the Firestarter bit at the end. I thought, this
yeah, I don't imagine him going, Twisted Firestarter. Ace.
Although we all know that if you gave him a set of spoons and put him on stage to that, he'd probably sing it.
He'd give it a go, I'll tell you.
He'd give it a go, yeah.
I always remember him in that jazz club in Chicago where he led everyone getting up and dancing. God, we were on the stage dancing with the band. It was just madness. Anyway, the band wasn't madness. It was a jazz band. Hello from rainy Lancashire. From Michael Herbert, who's doing lots of research into Malcolm Hulke, the Doctor Who writer. What's that?
I don't know, I just made a noise.
I just wondered what it meant, that's all.
Doesn't mean anything.
Blah, 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 blah. That doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. Well, why not?
Yeah. Nothing means anything, Benji. Nothing works. Nothing works. Dear Nick and Benji, on the last broadcast, you discussed the film Sapphire. Do you remember I mentioned that?
Yeah.
Yeah, an old film that sort of dealt with in a very out-of-date way with questions of race. There is a better film on race, though not without its problems, called Flame in the Streets, released in 1961. It was originally written by Ted Willis for Armchair Theatre as Hot Summer Night, directed by Ted Kotcheff. The cast on television included John Slater, Andre Mellet and Lloyd Reckford. I don't know any of those actors. Do you?
No. Not at all.
None of them have been round for tea, no. The film version starred John Mills playing Jacko Palmer, a trade union steward who advocates for equal rights for all races, but then discovers his daughter, Sylvia Sims, going out with a young black man, Johnny Secker, to the horror of his wife. Earl Cameron is in the film, who appeared in many films and television series in the 1950s and 1960s, and indeed one I was just watching over lunch, actually, the London Pool, including The 10th Planet as astronaut Williams. Here is a clip. We can have a look at a clip of that if you like. Astonishingly, it's on YouTube, by the way, Earl is still with us, aged 102. Yeah, I thought that when I was watching the film at lunchtime. I nearly said that to my wife, that he was still with us. But she's never interested in any of my film facts. And he's available for work. Last time I saw him interviewed, perhaps Big Finish could offer him a role.
Johnny Secker looks so young in this. Sorry, I'm just looking at the clip. He looks very, very young.
I don't know what Johnny Secker looks like.
You have to Google him. You'll recognise him.
Right.
I think so. I recognise him.
Johnny Secker. Oh, yes. I've been in millions of films. Yeah. Brilliant. Yes. He was born in 1934, so he'll be in his 80s. That's the kind of mathematician I am. I can work these things out. Oh, yeah. According to Screen Online, Earl Cameron brought a breath of fresh air to the British film industry's stuffy depictions of race relations. Often cast as a sensitive outsider, Cameron gave his character a grace and moral authority that often surpassed the film's compromised liberal agendas. As part of my research on Mac Hulk, I was looking at plays broadcast on Australian television in the 1960s and came across this reference to Don Houghton, who wrote Inferno, of course, 1970 Doctor Who story.
Inferno.
Inferno. The Astronauts, 1961, written by Don Houghton. Is it Houghton or Houghton? Who knows? Directed by Christopher Muir, ABC, 60 Minutes, shot in Melbourne, an original Australian TV play about men training to be astronauts. 2 Americans, a Britisher and an Australian, at an Australian research facility. Is this the only Australian TV drama about the space race? The cast includes Alan Hopgood, the actor and writer who was in many of these plays. There's a little link to it there. Finally, my talk on Mac Hulk is now available on YouTube. Ooh, we were delighted that Katie Manning was able to join us at the start for a few minutes, audio only, as she had suffered an accident with an eye. Oh, sorry to hear that. Yours sincerely, Michael Herbert, editor, Fantasies of Possibilities science fiction blog. Check that out, by the way. fantasiesofpossibility.wordpress.com. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Fab stuff. Well, we got another email here from a friend of ours, Luke Peatnick, who's a sound designer at Big Finish and a lovely chap. And his subject is Top 10 Sci-Fi Shows, Channel 4, 2001. And this was sent on the 7th of the 6th, 2020, year of our Lord 1433.
Yes.
Right in the Middle Ages there. Now then, it says, hi both. I'm very much enjoying the podcast as ever. I wanted to get in touch to recommend a documentary I found on YouTube. A Channel 4 science fiction top 10 countdown show from 2001 presented by none other than Tom Baker. Have you seen this? It's a couple of years after his Doctor Who night links, and I didn't know of these until a few days ago. He is wearing a hat and scarf, which made him look a little bit like the Toulouse-Lautrec poster that allegedly inspired his costume. The show is a rundown of several science fiction shows, including Star Trek, Doctor Who, Thunderbirds, Blake 7, and more. It was scattered across YouTube, so I've assembled it into a playlist so you can view here. I'll have a quick peeky-weeky at the costume. It's got Space 1999 on there, of course, Tomorrow People, Hitchhikers, rightly so. Oh, look at that. Fab. That is very, very nicely done. Yes, he does look awfully like that poster, I have to admit. It has something of an air of misogyny, like Tom Baker describing the female companions as crumpets, but it was a late-night show on Channel 4, so its intention was probably to be a little subversive anyway. Well, it was as well. It was, we're looking just under 20 years ago now.
Things have changed.
Things have changed, yeah. Let me know what you both think. Thanks both, Luke Peatnick. Well, there we go. We'll give that one a look over, won't we, Nick?
Yeah.
A look over.
I'm going to click the link now, actually. I'm going to have a quick watch and let him know what I think. Here we go.
He got a broad range of interviews, actually.
I'm just going to sit here and watch it now. Oh, darling, it's a Daypole toy there.
Tom's looking younger there.
I'm still on the starting sequence, which is going on forever. I'm bored of that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Tom's doing his shouting acting. Goodness me, he was about 3 times as wide as he is now there. Wow. Yeah. I know Tom on days like that when he just wants to shout everything. Yes, everything! Just, Tom, maybe be a bit quieter in this scene. What? Wow, thank you for that, Luke. Now we're going to talk about Juliet Bravo, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Juliet Bravo, 1980 series.
My dear friend
BBC.
Nicholas Pegg had composed some words to the theme of Juliet Bravo, but luckily for everyone concerned, I can't remember them, but he did sing them to me in a bar. It was very funny.
Well, it was under their sort of recommendation as well. Obviously, there was the... a message that we got last week prompting this to happen, but of course you did mention, didn't you, that Nicholas Pegg had recommended it.
Yeah, which is why I bought the DVD box set quite a while back and did watch the first episode. I think I watched the first couple, but it had been a while, so it was worth a refresher. I want to say that I enjoyed it more the second time. I think I wasn't in the right mood for it the first time I saw it, and I found it very plain and dull. But what really struck me about it is that it was such a good piece of writing, and it is very of its time, 1980 I think you said, and the whole business about there being a woman copper in charge is all a bit of an issue for everyone, and that feels desperately old-fashioned, but it's handled really well. And Stephanie Turner as Jean Darblay she's just no nonsense brilliant.
She's just really believable, isn't she? She's
totally
really good in it.
Yeah, it's a fine piece of acting, I think. There's nothing charismatic about her in the traditional sense, but it's just the sheer force of the realism that really, and this was a popular series. I presume she decided not to do it anymore after 3 years, because then they brought in someone else to play a new
yes, I was doing some research upon that, actually, yeah. And basically she decided that after about three series that she worried about getting typecast, really. Yeah. And so decided to leave the role. Took her a year before she then got another acting job. And she's appeared in various things, sort of the odd episodes of things here and there over the years. But never, I don't think she did one full series, which was the Hello Girls in 1996, about 50s wireless operators. And now she part owns an antique shop. So she retired a couple of years ago.
A lot of retired performers go into antiques, didn't they? Ronnie Barker went into antiques as well.
I can't do any impressions of his, I don't know why I'm even trying.
Just very weird stammering and coughing, basically, is what you were doing.
Well, which is sort of what he does, really, I suppose.
Well, did, I suppose. I think that I imagine that one of the problems of being in Juliet Bravo as the female lead, that people would go, you play that Juliet Bravo woman, don't you? You're Juliet Bravo. Because, of course, Juliet Bravo is the call sign, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
For the inspector in it. And apparently it's not even mentioned in the series until series 3. No one mentions the call sign. So the series is called Juliet Bravo, and no one ever says it. So that's why a lot of viewers who weren't concentrating, I suppose, who didn't notice that she's called Jean Darblay, thought that the character was called Juliet Bravo. I remember a lot of people at the time being confused about, why is this called Juliet Bravo? Because it's not her name.
Well, the thing is, as well, and I have to say, there's something about the name Juliet Bravo which sort of cheapens the series in a way, because I've not really got any particular memories or opinions on this prior to watching it. I watched it this morning, and so I always thought it was going to be some relatively cruddy bit of television, to be honest. But watching this, I think the name does it a bit of a disservice, because actually it's wonderfully done. It's, as you say, wonderfully done. Surprisingly hard hitting in the right places.
It is, isn't it? It's got a bit of swearing in it.
I've got a bit of swearing, I think that the thing that struck me with this one is that she messes up to a degree. she doesn't do very well. And I thought that was actually brilliant, because what it does in a way, she's out there to prove herself that she can take over this role that was previously, and pretty much always has been, a male role. And so one would assume, to hammer in that she can do it because she's the lead of the series, that she would immediately come out with flying colours and prove them all wrong. But it was really interesting to actually see them with a different take, that actually, she didn't handle it that well, but then at the end she asserts herself.
Yes.
As if to say, it was a way of kind of saying, look, things don't always turn out how...
It's a hostage situation, just to explain for people who haven't seen it. It's a hostage situation where a man who's got various mental issues takes his daughter, played by Joanne Whalley.
Yeah, Joanne Whalley indeed.
Incredible, possibly in one of her first TV roles, where she's playing a 14-year-old, and she's magnificent. It's a very small part, but you can see she's destined for stardom because she's so realistic. And her father's got a shotgun, and he is basically threatening to kill himself and her, and threatens to kill their mother. And he's just he lost his job a few years ago, and he's basically gone insane. And the mother says there was always anger inside him. And so in a way, Jean Darblay can't win because it's an impossible situation. But of course, because it goes wrong, and the guy ends up killing himself, it reflects badly on her. But I can't see how else she could have managed it. The only thing I'd say, in a very sexist way, that he's obviously the hostage taker is a very misogynistic man, and when Jean Darblay calls out to him on the loud hailer and he hears a female voice, he is heard to say, "Shut up, you bloody woman," and it kind of inflames him more that the police officer talking to him is a woman. He gets more cross about that.
It's sort of his moment, isn't it? His moment of kind of, everything's been leading up to this. He's got the gun, they've come after him, and they're not giving him this machoistic moment that he necessarily wanted or expected. Because right from the off as well, he's definitely, you can tell the way he treats his wife. Well, you really think he's going to kill her right at the beginning, don't you? There's a moment where you think, oh my God, he is just going to blow her head off. He just goes around. I mean, it was a very again, I can't stress how it's such an old-fashioned, dull way this is made. There is no music, there's no clever camera work, but there's that first sequence where he arrives in the car and it's all close-ups of hands and doors opening and things, and you don't see people's faces, and it really does draw you in. But he goes in there with the gun. The woman's trying to get her daughter out because she knows he'll try and take her, and she's taking stuff off the washing line, and she suddenly turns around and there's a shotgun in her face, and he just looks at her and says, "I'm going to kill you." And it's just, and you think, oh my God, he's going, and she just cries and goes down on her knees, and it's only the daughter. Well, she immediately just says her Hail Marys as well, which I thought was really, wow, that's that moment. She completely and utterly believes that he would do it as well, and that hit me. I thought, ooh, blimey.
And Joanne Whalley's reaction, her crying.
Well, you could see from her straight away why she was, cast in Edge of Darkness, with that role straight away, interestingly enough.
It's very, and given that they're none of the, how do I want to phrase it? None of the, I don't know, posh tricks of drama that we can do now with music and clever stuff and drone shots and, all that. There's none of that. It's just really basic. It's really just the camera and the actor.
Some good location work, though, as well.
But what I'm saying is that the power of the drama comes across without being aided by anything else. It's
definitely.
It feels like watching theatre in a way. You don't feel so filtered from the reality of the emotions by clever techniques. There's nothing clever about this. It's just people talking and real life happening. I think it's really beautifully done, actually, in its way. I mean, it obviously is primitive.
It's primitive, but I quite like that because I think it's kind of it showcases a more realistic take on how things would have been. It's up north. It's in the north of England. There's no, as you say, really, there's no fancy, there's no bells and whistles. This is a gritty drama about a policewoman.
And there's mentions of unemployment and stuff. And the horrible business about, there's a storyline, and I'm not sure, I can't remember whether it gets resolved in the next episode, where a girl has been raped, but the father won't let her press charges because he says he doesn't want it all to be dragged through the courts and people, it reminds you how rape cases used to be treated. I mean, whether things are much better or not now, that's open for debate, but certainly things are much improved on what they were back in those days.
Definitely.
And when Jean Darblay pushes the father about it, he said, if you weren't a woman, I'd punch you.
I'd give you one. Blimey, There was one bit in this, actually, which we've mentioned this sort of thing before. I've written it down, actually. But when writers put in phrases that they obviously say a lot.
Yes.
But this same phrase was used probably within a 5-minute space from two completely different characters who said the word patents to tell you. Patents to tell you. He patents to tell you, which I think means...
Patents to tell you?
Patents to tell you, yeah. I've never heard of it.
Have you misheard it?
I might have done, but that's what they say at the beginning. If you look through the patents to tell you. Honestly, it's said in... Because I remember thinking, what does that mean?
Yeah, I don't recall hearing that.
But it's in the openings bits. There's the bloke who comes in asking for the fiver says it at the beginning, when he report the informer, and then after that, when the bloke goes in after him, he says it as well. And I thought, why these two said, and it just struck. It completely jumped out.
I have to watch it again and remind me to report back on that.
Yeah, patents tell you. It could maybe I have misheard something, but it was said twice by two different people, and I thought this seems
interesting.
It's like when that classic thing that some writers do, which you completely kill the immersion because you think, was that?
Yeah, unless it was a phrase that was in vogue. I'm not saying that one was, but that lots of people use. I mean, a lot of us use similar phrases now, but I know exactly what you mean. It is a good idea as a writer to have everyone speak in an more individual way.
Maybe it's from that part of Lancashire.
I can't imagine what it means, though. I don't recall hearing it, and I've seen it twice. I was going to say my favourite bit, bizarrely, in it, it's just... I love it when things are a bit messy and not too clean and neat. And when the guy's holed up in the cottage and he fires his shotgun and there's the slow motion shot of the greenhouse being utterly shattered by all the shots from the shotgun. And I keep wanting to say, and Juliet Bravo and Jean Darblay and the other two people hit the ground, and the ground is wet and muddy and they crawl through it. And so for the rest of the episode, they are caked in mud. And I thought I love the fact that they just, didn't fake it. You see that in a lot of TV things where people fall down and then miraculously their clothes are all right because the costume department have been in there with the brushes and everything. And the fact that, they were so terrified that someone was going to kill them. Yeah, I thought that was good.
Nice little touches like that add to what I would say is a surprisingly gritty take on it.
Yeah.
What I was really expecting to be something a lot more, how can I say, a lot more New Scotland Yardy.
Oh yeah, which I watched some episodes of that the other day, and it's just so dull and so pedestrian. Good theme tune, though.
Got a great theme tune, but it's a piece of stock music, that theme tune.
Yeah,
so they don't even get that credit because they just plucked it out of a.
Yeah, I'm not that fond of the theme tune of Juliet Bravo, to be quite honest. By Derek Goom, I seem to remember his name.
Yeah, it's not.
Couldn't he have added an R in there to make it Derek Groom?
Well, maybe, but
it was a mistake with the letter set and the closing title. You keep crediting me as Goom, and my name's Groom, you idiot.
Well, you should think yourself lucky. They put me down as Clive, and my real name's Maureen. But it's a good series. I'll give it a solid 4 out of 5. I would give it a 5, but the thing that irritated me in this was the gormless police officers that seemingly followed her around everywhere. They were just a useless bunch. There's a bunch of ghouls following her around, those two blokes, because she's trying to get stuff done and they don't seem to be doing anything other than sort of following her and giving her a bit of attitude.
Oh, you mean like the sergeant who said, yeah, well, I might stick around and see how it goes or something. And she said, oh, well, thanks very much.
Yeah.
She said, yeah, I won't stand in your way if you want to put in for a transfer, she said, which is a polite way of saying, I hope you push off soon. Yeah, but funnily enough, that guy... he does the whole series, even after Stephanie Turner's gone. He does the whole series of Juliet Bravo, and then vanishes into oblivion.
And you never have really. You never.
This is a top series, though. It was, it ran for 6 years. Beck. Yeah, very good actor. And the other chap who plays the desk sergeant, again, he was the one who I think turned up in Albion Market that we were discussing. But yeah, I give it 4 exclamation marks out of 5. I very nearly gave it 5, but it's not quite got the panache. I'm not gagging to watch more, but I will watch more because I love the social conscience of it, and I love that it's a little bit more like Play for Today than Z Cars. I quite like that. It verges on being serious drama, he said pretentiously.
Well, and I'll be brutally honest, I like seeing all the police cars, all the lovely old Fords, and
Pandas.
This is the old Pandas, yeah.
Why do they call them Pandas?
Because they're black and white, I think.
They're blue and white.
Yeah, well, I'm colourblind, so I don't know, do I?
No, but Panda cars
used
were
to be
blue and white.
A light blue, didn't they? They're lights.
Yeah.
My friend,
so why did they call them Pandas? Why?
My friend took me to his garage. This is a couple of years ago. He said, "Oh, come out to the garage." I said, "Okay." So I went into the garage. He opened it up, and in there was a pristine police Morris Minor with the blue, and it even had the thing on the top, and it's got the siren. So it's got the siren. He clicked it. This is incredible.
Did you run past it? So it went.
That's at the moment in my Coronation Street. I'm up to 1989. For some, they've obviously got themselves into this. They've got themselves into this sort of thing of they've got the sound effect of an ambulance going past, going da, 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 da. But of course it's used all the time in it. But the funniest thing is, the other day it was quite funny. I think one of the characters, like Emily Bishop, this sort of lovely lady, she said, "Anyway," she said, "it's getting late. I suppose I better be off home." So, okay, bye, Emily. And so she leaves the house, and then for some reason the scene carries on inside the house, and all you hear is the door shutting, and then. And I just started laughing. Oh, she obviously drives an ambulance there. just
had to get home quickly. Yeah,
because they didn't even if I'm trying to do a sound effect, you could just take the treble off it, so at least it's gone. Yeah. But no, this was just like BBC sound effects 207 ambulance going past.
Right, I've found the most unhelpful internet information. Panda cars were named after pandas because they were originally painted in large panels of black and white or blue. Well, like pandas are.
Like pandas are, yeah.
Usually light blue and white. So no real. What does panda car mean? Asks the internet. I say a panda car is a police car, British informal. Okay, how do police choose their cars? I'm not interested in this. Can you buy a Fiat Panda in the US? There's no legal way to buy one. Oh, well, there we go. Anyway, there we are. We liked it, folks. Give it a try. It's available on DVD. The first series is relatively affordable. All the others are massively expensive because there was a massive fire that burned down the warehouse that all the others were available in. That's absolutely true. And that's why Juliet Bravo is almost prohibitively expensive to buy. The first series, not so much.
Surely it'd be a good one for BritBox, wouldn't it? You'd think.
Yeah, I mean, God, I've just got my Just Park app has come up to ask me whether to allow notifications. Shut up! What is it about apps? I hate them. Here's let's see if Jamie Anderson is about. I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way because he's in a car park with a vet. Don't know. What was it? Hello.
Hello.
Are you with the vet?
Well, excuse my beeping car. I'm at the vet, but of course, with social distancing, you park up, you ring the reception, tell them the bay number. They come and get your dog or animal and take it in, and you just sit in the car.
Are you saying your dog isn't an animal?
But I was just opening it up to say that vets treat animals other than dogs.
I think that's a scoop, folks.
It is, yes. You heard it here first. Exclusive to the Benji and Nick show. But no, it's like a drive-through vet surgery now. It's very odd.
Just chuck the dog through the window as you go past.
Almost, yeah. Well, I had to, because Eric is a big deerhound and he doesn't like going to the vet, so I had to shove him out the car and shove him into the vets.
So you're just waiting now for...
Yes, for him to have his stitches removed and have his insurance form filled in. I mean, it's very exciting.
Does he have to do a paw print as the signature? All
Yes.
right. Well, we've been watching Juliet Bravo, or talking about it anyway. We watched it. We didn't do a commentary. That would just be ludicrous. It's not got Daleks in it.
Ridiculous. And how was it? I've never seen Juliet Bravo.
It's really good. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. It's a good bit of hard-hitting, very old-fashioned BBC style, but yeah, it's good. Benji, do you have a random question for Jamie before we let him go back to his veterinarianism?
I'll get up the question generator. Here we go.
Oh, no.
What is the worst hotel you've ever stayed at? And what is the best hotel you've ever stayed at?
Jamie's showing me a mirror, showing me on FaceTime looking at him.
It's my wing mirror fell off on the way here.
Oh, blimey.
God, blimey, what a
That's the
contraption.
worst hotel I've ever stayed in. Well, it's not, the worst one is not necessarily like worst because it was full of cockroaches and rats and stuff. It was actually quite a nice little hotel in London, but I got a special offer, cheap room there. I thought, well, this is too good to be true, and went in and they said, here you go, there's your key, the room's in the basement. I was like, okay, well, that's fine, because London basements, you normally got the sort of sub-level window onto the street. And I got down there, and it was like a small underground cave with no windows at all. And I'm not claustrophobic, but
you were afterwards.
This horrendous sense of claustrophobia, and it took me about half an hour to convince myself that I could stay there. It sounds so ridiculous and so first world problemy. It was sort of a nightmarish moment of, I'm going to be trapped here for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
So you went out, got ridiculously drunk, and then it was fine.
It's almost like you know me.
That's the only way you can cope with a room like that, if you were unconscious in it.
Pretty much that. I mean, the other worst one, I stayed in a hostel that had been partly converted into part hotel, and it was the hottest, most uncomfortable thing, and it was above the hostel's pub, which was open till 3 a.m, with windows directly over it. So I heard all sorts of fascinating conversations, but not much sleep.
Mm-hmm. What about the best one?
The best hotel? I don't really know. That's weird that I'm less able to answer that question. Oh, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
When I took Dad on his final holiday, and we went to the Grand Hotel de Bordeaux in Bordeaux, would you believe?
Really?
And it was just so lovely. Really great building, lovely place, so comfortable. And yes, there you go. That was the nice one.
I'm sure you both enjoyed it very much.
Well, as you know, unfortunately, by that point, Dad's appreciation for things was not what it was. So
No.
It wasn't the greatest experience, but it was a lovely hotel.
We actually really can't go into the detail, but anyway.
No, we can't.
No, absolutely. Bless him. All right, well, listen, I'll leave you to your real world problems now.
Thank you very much. I'll pass your kind regards on to Eric the dog.
Yes, we send regards, don't we, Benji?
We certainly do. Hope all goes well.
All right, cheerio, mate. Thank you.
Have a great rest of the show. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
There he goes.
So it goes, so it went. That was me doing Tony Wilson from So It Goes.
Yeah, I know.
So it goes, so it went.
That's one of your favourite things to say, Benji.
I know, I enjoy saying it.
I enjoy hearing it.
I'll say it again.
It's a match made in heaven, isn't it? Say some more things.
Just say that again for me, please. So I've had an idea.
Oh, I like it when you have ideas.
Well, thank you very much. Talking Pictures TV have been showing these old programmes, I suppose.
It's the entire premise of the channel, Benji.
I suppose it is, really. I feel like I've been here before. But they've been showing the old things like William Tell, Robin Hood, Sir Francis Drake, and the adventures of Sir Lancelot with William Russell as Sir Lancelot. Yes. So I thought it might be quite good fun to cover that one. It was an old series back in, I think it started in the 1950s, and it was. Let me have a look.
I think you're probably right.
I know that the last series of it is in colour. The rest of it is in black and white.
So what are we going to watch specifically?
The Adventures of Sir Lancelot.
The first episode?
The first episode, yes.
So we're going to do that.
Which is called, and I quote, The Knight with the Red Plume.
In black and white.
In black and white, yes, would you believe, quite frankly.
Well, nothing. Okay, right, lovely. All right, we'll watch that then. Brilliant. Brilliant, I look forward to that.
Yes, it was filmed where my dad grew up and was born, Walton-on-Thames, at Netherfold Studios. They filmed. My dad didn't grow up there, obviously.
I was going to say, it was filmed where your dad was born. In a hospital.
In a hospital,
Sir Lancelot in a hospital.
Yes, that's why. The budget was bad, okay. Welcome to Camelot. It looks like A&E.
Yes. Sir Lancelot, unfortunately, in this episode, gets an ingrowing toenail. Right. Should we just get close to the microphone then?
Certainly, yes. Here we are.
I just can't get close enough. Don't forget to send your emails to podcast. I'm completely restricting my speech by the podcast at nicholasbriggs.com. Send them in. We love your emails.
Certainly do.
Benji's nose is completely squashed on his pop shield. This is all fascinating, isn't it? Cheerio from me.
And cheerio from me. Bye-bye.
Pressing stop now. Ka-chunk.